Just go.
July 2023 already. It's the Q&A show on the Photofocus podcast. Welcome in. I'm Ron Pepper, Bay Area photographer, and I'm here with, as always, Rob Moroto, Canadian photographer in Vancouver Island or Calgary today.
Vancouver Island today. It's a whole lot nicer out here than in Calgary. It's actually thunderstorm season and cowboy season in Calgary, so I like to avoid that as much as I can.
But I know you just said you wanted to avoid it, but I'm sorry, you can't say cowboy season in Calgary and then not explain that.
All right, so for anybody who does rodeos or likes any kind of mass gatherings of people to do anything from gambling to horse betting on horses and stuff, the Calgary Stampede is on. It is the biggest outdoor event in the world, I believe, and lasts for 10 days, and it's on right now.
Oh, that's where so that's where the Stampede football team name comes from.
It does. It does.
Okay. All right. I'm learning stuff. See, I'm learning stuff about Canada all the time, working with you. So we'll have to bring up Canadian photography questions, maybe. I don't know.
We might.
Well, hey, let's really quickly thank our sponsor, Photomatics, for high dynamic range photography. And since we have a direct question about Photomatics, where they even mentioned the name, we got to have a chance to talk about it coming up. So we don't have to, we can just, do that and just say for now that it's for high dynamic range photography, bracket your shots, different shutter speeds. That helps you put it together and get the kind of results you want. Mm-hmm. Try it for free at hdrsoft.com. All right.
Thank you, sponsor.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, we get to do what we want on the show, and we're showing that off with our attitude today, aren't we?
Yes. And well, let's face it, you know what? We're into the summer months now. Everything is busy. Everybody is busy. We admittedly don't have quite the plethora of questions that we usually get, but we've summed them up into a few of them here and picked out our favorites. But you know what? I like these questions because the majority of the questions that we get are questions that are either related to, say, something like business. How do I get my first clients? How much should I charge? What should I package things at? Or what's the legalities of copyright? And how should I present copyright things? And when should I, you know what? So we've got episodes in our repertoire already, like the ones that we did with David Deal, talking about the legal stuff.
Yeah, if you haven't heard that, go back in the podcast feed, check it out.
Definitely. He's got two of them there. And we've also got ones where we've got questions about, shutter speeds and cameras and what kind of camera should I use and who likes this camera. It's like, you know what? There's a lot of other podcasts out there that talk about gear, so we don't get into that. But
we can though. If someone says a specific question about that, what they want to do in their gear, and it's a question that we can answer, then we will. I mean,
definitely.
It's valid, but yeah, don't ask what kind of camera should I get.
Yeah. The only thing that we'll say is get used to it, and then get something that you really want to use. Right.
Well, yeah, we all have our takes on the gear, but I mean, people have heard our takes by now, if you've been listening at all, I guess, but we always have new people coming in and new people to photography, new people to podcasts and all that. Mm-hmm. But so I don't mind that question. I just feel like I've answered it in so many ways over so many different platforms over the years that it's always depending on what you want to do and everything. So really, maybe what you're getting at is ask a specific question.
Ask a specific question. Give us something give us something fun, right?
Oh, yeah. Give us audio questions. What you do is you go on your smartphone and you use the voice recorder and you ask a question. If it doesn't work the first time, just try it again, delete it and do it again. Or like I get this from, I know radio show hosts, they always say, write down some notes before you call in because you get nervous when you get on there. So anyway, on your smartphone, record it on the voice memo app or whatever it is, and then hit that send and email it to questions@photofocus.com. And we can play the audio on here. That was one thing I've been wanting to do, but people they don't really send in audio questions very often. So
No.
most likely if you do, as long as you're not, as long as it's understandable, keep we have a clean rating so you can't swear. Ask us in audio. We'll probably use it. Most likely
Definitely. Yeah, we can take questions in English, Canadian, and Japanese and Spanish, I believe.
Canadian?
Yes, the politer questions.
The polite questions.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. We have we can do
Tengo una Nikon D80.
that was one that we had. I still have it sitting here in my file.
Yeah.
Any French for you or no?
No.
But Japanese, yeah.
Japanese I can still do a little bit, yeah, but okay. I can't do French. It's my high school French is absolutely terrible.
All right, so what else about send them in, give us as many details. You know what, things that'll still lead into our first question. Someone who didn't name themselves asked, are we using threads from Instagram yet? And I went to myself, I think I've heard of that. And then when I asked you right before the show, because I hadn't really heard of it, and you hadn't heard of it. So threads from Instagram is supposedly, hey, now we're recording this early July 2023. So this is going to sound dumb later, but threads is apparently supposed to be their Twitter killer or their competitor to Twitter. And it's by Instagram. Yes. So that's by Facebook or Meta. So it's all these confusing things. Right now it's Meta. And I have been so proud of myself how I've stayed off Facebook so much for quite a while. So I really haven't heard of this, except on like my YouTube channel will recommend what's going on. What's this Threads thing? So
let's see now. Okay, so I've got it up right now. CNN Business says Threads is a new app from the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So what, the Zuckerberg
That's
empire?
The Zuckerverse. Yeah.
The Zuckerverse. Yeah. The platform looks a lot like Twitter with a feed of largely text-based posts, although users can also post photos and videos where people can have real-time conversations.
So my super quick, what I wanted to really quickly mention before we continue is with the questions, sometimes it makes us go, oh, wow, let's research it and then we can share, which I did very just a little. So I did what you did, looked at what the heck it is, and I downloaded it. I didn't double check to make sure it was a secure, safe app really, but I'm on an iPhone. So I downloaded it.
It's from the Zuckerverse. So it's got as little security as the Zuckerverse can provide,
right. But when I opened it up,
yep.
When I opened it up, it let me sign in using my existing Instagram. So I didn't even have to put in any passwords or anything in it. And it said, do I want to follow the same people? And I did. And I immediately got followed by Shaman Qureshi.
Nice.
So that's who we had him on the show recently.
Yep,
and
talking about Northern Lights, go back, read that one, listen to that one.
Definitely go back in the feed a couple. Yeah. We don't put out that many shows. You should be able to go back and hear most of them. So anyway.
Oh, by the way, I'm just going to stop right there. Yep. Shaman just, if you're on Facebook and you don't follow Shaman, you have to. He just put out this series of nighttime lightning storm chasing photos where you've got these lightning bolts going clear across the sky. Amazing photos. So I digress. Getting back, you had something else you wanted to say.
Well, I guess I just wanted to say that my initial looking at it is pretty much just what you read from the internet. There is that it looks like I'm on Twitter, and it doesn't seem photography related exactly, which Instagram is supposed to be. But I guess that's what they're doing. Why would they put out something that's just like Instagram? They're trying to do something different. And I went to do an initial post. What I wanted to do was just grab a few iPhone fireworks shots that I just really quickly for fun tried to grab. With fireworks on 4th of July, I just thought I would see how my iPhone does. I didn't do any other photography. So I was going to try to do a little collage, but it had no tools for that or anything like that. So it's not really like Instagram is, where it's kind of intended for that kind of display. It's just real simple. So I don't, and again, this is what may sound really dumb later, because right now it's early July 2023 is I don't really know what they're trying to do. What's better than Twitter? What's different? I don't know.
You know what my take is on this?
I have different followers and stuff. I follow in I have different groups of things that I do on those two platforms. So that, okay, that's good. I guess I can have a different persona and purpose on different service, I guess. But no, initially I don't see the differences, but there is one thing I noticed signing up that it mentioned that future versions would be federated. So that means you know about the Fediverse? We're calling
Fediverse.
it. That's a term,
Metaverse.
right? The term I've heard is the Fediverse, a federated social media. So that would be Mastodon, if you've heard of that, where anybody can run their own instance. So it can be as private or not private as you want. It can be as controlled or not controlled as you want, as moderated or not moderated as you want. And then what the federation means that you have your own. Like I'm on like No Agenda. That's a podcast, and they have an instance of Fediverse of the Mastodon. So you're in that world, but then you can also connect with people that are in different instances. So there is crossover. So I guess it's kind of like the states or provinces. That's federated. So you're related, but you're also separate. So this is me trying to explain it. So anyway, that's the only difference I noticed. So I don't know. That's
okay. Well, no, that's neat. Okay, so my only take on this is this. I got into Instagram way too late. And so what I found was that my competitors all started Instagram probably a year or 2 years before I got my company on there and before I even got onto it. My Rob Moroto persona on Instagram, or my profile, I guess. I don't know. It is my profile, right?
Profile, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. So I got that started way too late. And so by the time that I got on, I couldn't find just at Moroto. It had to be at Rob Moroto, which is fine. You know, there's not that many Morotos out there. There's 6 of us in Canada and maybe a handful in Japan. And there's this mountain in Uganda. But aside from that, there's not that many Morotos. So I thought I could get it no problem, but I couldn't. Same thing when I did for Calgary Photos. Somebody already took Calgary Photos, and I know who it is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And they won't give it to me, and I don't know why. It's a personal, like, little tit for tat kind of thing.
There's a little vendetta going on there.
Yeah, and so my handle for Calgary Photos is at calgaryphotos.ca, which is unfortunate, but still, that's okay. Now, whenever I hear of a new thing coming up on social media, like a new platform, I am now the opposite, where I'm like, oh crap, I got to get out there. I got to get my handles. I got to get my followers. I got to get all this building really quickly, really fast. Because imagine, it's just like YouTube. We were primed to be like the first million users on YouTube simply because we were doing videos a lot sooner than a lot of other people. Right? And YouTube really didn't kick off and it didn't blow up until around, 8 years ago? 9 years ago?
How many did you say?
8, 9.
8 or 9?
10. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, we could have been there. We could have been one of the, pioneer accounts that could have gotten up there, but we didn't. We didn't do anything. We kept all of our videos as private, and we only shared out private links, and so we never got the notoriety there. And now I'm kicking myself. So every time I see something new like this, I immediately just want to jump on, get as many followers as possible, put out as much content as possible, and just hope to heck that it's not going to be something like what was that one where it was just audio? Clubhouse,
yeah.
Is that still around?
I think it is. To me it was just a COVID phenomenon because I was bored, and so I'd spend a lot of time outside, walking and stuff, and so I could be on there. And I don't know, it was cool for a while, but maybe I would still use it because it was okay for photography, but mostly I was onto it for Spanish because I was practicing with people from all over. Oh, sorry, so that was a tangent. But what I was going to say is, being a little older than you, I was doing videos and stuff that kind of went on YouTube, but YouTube wasn't really big yet.
Yeah.
and it was talking about HDR. I was talking about panoramic stuff, and there are still things out there. I'll get a question, and somebody will go, "How do I find this button or whatever?" I got it from this YouTube video, and I'll hear my boring old voice on the video, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I made that like in the before 2010 in the aughts or whatever we're calling them."
Yeah.
So, and then there are these guys that have big YouTube channels now on 360 and on panorama, and they're all reviewing all the thetas and the cameras and stuff. I'm like, see, I was doing that stuff, but I was before my time. It was before the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many things, it's all about the timing, right? Don't be too early or too late.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Okay, so for threads anyway, you use your Instagram account, so that's the same. You don't have to grab a new one. But since you brought it up, I do that too. So we have a similar, like, okay, Rob and Ron are super common, and I got stories about being called Rob and everything, and that happens all the time. But Pepper and Moroto is unusual enough. So for me, there are a handful of Ron Peppers around. You know how you do you can sign up on Google to get alerts, so you can put in a term or a phrase. So I get alerts about things like panoramic photography, HDR photography. Put my name in, I get alerts about my name. So like when this show goes out, I'll get that alert, and that'll be a real one. But I also get ones about chefs and stuff because Pepper comes up in that kind of thing. And I get things about a few different, I get some that are talking, there's stories about pepper spray. And so anyway, I recently got one about Ron Pepper obituary.
Oh, geez. That's
so
dark.
Apparently there's one guy that I guess died recently. Anyway, the point is there's one other Ron Pepper that goes and gets these handles, the Ron Pepper, and he's a real estate agent in San Diego. If anybody knows him, pass this on just for fun. And maybe
That'd
we could have
hilarious.
we could have him on. You know, we both do real estate photography. You have a real estate photography podcast that you might want to pump,
or the course, right?
And the course. But I was thinking we could have two Ron Peppers on your real estate show if you want.
Oh my god, that would be nuts. But
Yeah,
then again, wait a sec. Okay, San Diego. Okay, Bay Area, San Diego, not quite close enough.
It's like an 8-hour drive.
That's unfortunate because that would be
Faster if
the
you're
perfect.
flying.
That would be the perfect combination there if you had two Ron Peppers, one the realtor, one the photographer.
Yeah.
You could almost make it into like an HGTV show, really.
I don't know if it would be enough. Isn't that like Joey Tribbiani finding his hand twin? Isn't that kind of like just that you'd get over that pretty quickly? Anyway, I think we're boring the heck out of people.
Okay, well, let's unbore people by getting into that one other question that we had that is related to our sponsor, Photomatics.
Yeah. Okay. So this is perfect. Thanks. So someone's listening when we say, if you have specific questions about this stuff, we're happy to answer them. Marco, Netherlands, even. And here's a tip, by the way. Since there's an Infuse plugin that does something similar, it's a more automated way of combining bracketed shots, and it doesn't do as much. You don't have as many options and as many types of results you can get and that kind of thing as Photomatics, but it's called Infuse plugin. It's been around forever. And he says, since that's not working on my M2 computer, so that's the new Mac M2, he's using Photomatics now. And the question is, how do I get results like Infuse? And I've been answering this question for years because, again, people want to kind of, what's the term, up their game or whatever. So, I can tell you the easiest question. The simplest part is natural preset, because Infuse uses exposure fusion, and Photomatics can use exposure fusion or HDR. And the difference is HDR has this highly mathematical process of creating a 32-bit file. Some industries and some uses like 3D and animation and stuff, they want the 32-bit file and then you're done. But as photographers want to tone map it, so you take the 32-bit file and make it back into a photo. There's a simpler way of doing things. It all happens behind the scenes, of course, but Fusion basically does a more automated way of, as if you were layering everything in Photoshop and then just masking in and out parts from each layer. So it's a kind of the easiest way to explain it, I think. So Infusion does that simpler method. Photomatix is very capable of doing Fusion as well. So what you do is you use, for real estate, you use Fusion Interior. So that handles the windows better. So you'll notice with Infuse and, well, actually with even Photomatix, it depends on what you're using. The outside the windows part is the hardest part to get right. We all, I think, know that, and so that's why Fusion Interior was created. So it tries to make sure it pays attention to the window. Okay, so if you use natural preset, that's more like Infuse, so it won't worry about the window so much. But if you use Fusion Interior, then it will. So you can use Fusion Interior by presets like Interior, Interior 2, and a couple others. But there are little filters. Look above the sliders and above the presets, and you'll find ways of narrowing it down to Fusion and stuff like that. So,
what do you got? The one thing I do like about Photomatix is that they do have all these different presets and you can go through all of them. And then, of course, you can customize each and every one of them to be more like what you're looking at. And the thing is, Infuse has a very specific look. And if you like that look, then obviously, if you're doing high production, like when you're doing real estate photography, you want to keep the consistency in the look that you are providing to your clients, because consistency is key in our industry. And so if you're having troubles finding a preset that is similar to what you're looking for, well, you know what? Hit me up. I can probably answer that for you and help you out there, and actually probably create you a preset that's going to look pretty darn close to what you get. So
and since we like I said, Photomatix is a sponsor. I'm very involved with them and all that. Everybody knows that's not a secret. And this, when I replied to him specifically before, he even mentioned that he found a video on YouTube from Rob Moroto talking about the pre-processing. So the import. Oh, something I didn't mention. Infuse is it's a Lightroom plugin. I don't think it exists anywhere else. It's a plugin for Lightroom. Now, Photomatix you don't have to use with Lightroom, but you can do all this without Lightroom. But what we're talking about is a replacement for Infuse. So that's the batch plugin, the Photomatix batch plugin. And what Rob and I like to do is when you import the images initially, what do? With the secret, you know what I'm talking about?
Of course I know what I'm talking about. It's in my course. So
no, do you know, but do you know what I'm trying to throw at you? The detail that I'm trying to throw at you.
Oh, yes. If you want to learn, go to my website, www.robmoroto.com. Use the coupon code for what is the coupon code? It should be Photofocus. Yes, and you will get 20% off. All right. And if you'd like to bundle it up with Photomatix, I've got that too. All right. So enough about us there. Hey, you know what? We were just talking about Threads and like the new things that are out there, like Threads. That's a new one. I never even heard about that. I'm going to throw a question at you that you have not seen yet.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here it is.
Have you heard? To quote Chris Rock.
Uh-oh. Whoa. Right. All right. So, have you heard about Nerf?
Yeah, I usually win the battles.
No, not that Nerf.
Oh,
Nerfs.
Nerf.
Nerfs.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. Nerf.
I lose the Nerf bullets in the park all the time. You always got to buy more.
Right? It is. You are. Well, those hyper ones, those little yellow balls, yeah, you lose them everywhere. No, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about a Hasbro game. I'm talking about Nerf. Neural Radiance Fields.
Neural Radiance Field.
Yes, Neural Radiance
Fields. Brain waves or something? Brainwave fields?
No, this is like the coolest thing that I've actually seen. So what it can do is using photometry and I love that term, photometry, where it scans something, like your camera's scanning it and looking at it, and as you move the camera around, it's scanning it, and it can tell what it is, and it can sort of, kind of, interpolate a 3D environment based on what it's scanning. So it's essentially
creepy. I just pulled it up.
Right? It can do this, like, okay, we're already using this, using the thetas in doing Matterport 3D, virtual tours, dollhouses, and stuff like that. But now you can do this with your iPhone on objects. So now you can scan an object with your iPhone and then spin it around like it's on, like you're buying a shoe off of Nike or something like that.
Okay.
It's one of the coolest things that I've started to play with, and there is you can create NERFs, or these neural radiance fields, or these 3D environments, not only from your from the camera that you have in your hand, but you can do it from a drone as well.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I just saw this really cool video of these two guys. They had their buddy take a drone and essentially just do a 360 around this park down, I'm thinking it's in New Zealand. And it is the one that they use as the background in a Harry Potter movie, where that, where the train is going, and yeah. So
okay,
they made a video about that. They took the 360 drone video and created a 3D environment from that, and then made a video of this car flying through the clouds, going under the bridge and around the trees, through the trees. Amazing. Just absolutely amazing stuff that can be done now.
All right, hold on. So this looks like it's creating 3D objects, not the environment.
Yes, it can create 3D objects, and it can create the 3D environments. An environment is just a very big object.
That's kind of this is what I've been asked to do a lot, not really lately, but you take a 360 image.
Yeah.
And it's like it's actually 2D, of course, but it's kind of like you're projecting. The way you can explain it is you're projecting the image onto the inside of a sphere. So if you're standing in a solarium or something like that. And then the completely opposite thing is if you have an object and you take all those photos around it, or either rotate the object or move equidistant all around it, then you can build the object. But those are two separate things, because you need to have a 3D space to put the object into. But you're saying NERFs is doing both?
Yeah, kinda.
Oh, jeez.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Fully connected neural network that can generate novel views of complex 3D scenes. So novel views, that's a fancy way of saying new, right? So fake, not. So we're talking newly created, right?
Kind of, yes. Okay, so they had
I didn't
one
even
that was...
finish. I should have finished reading the sentence. Based on a partial set of 2D images. Okay, so it's filling in the blanks.
Yeah, and so it's imagine like content-aware Phil, but content-aware everything else out there. So no, this is it's really cool, and the one video that I saw that was really good for our job for interiors was it was able to take a scan of the inside of a room, and all you have to do is take a scan of the room, and then you could create a virtual flight path through the room, doing loop-de-loops in the room. You could do things like dolly pulls and just really cool effects.
Yeah, once you have a 3D environment, if it's a fully created 3D environment, you can move the virtual camera around and get whatever you want from it later. It's just what it takes to create a full 3D environment that has all the details from all the different angles. That's the hard thing. Like if you go through and shoot like with a instant 360 camera, as we know, we're doing Matterports and stuff, and that can be done. A house can be done in, what can you do it in, like 20 minutes, 15?
Oh, yes.
And I'm a little slower, but I just haven't done it as much. But it's amazing, absolutely amazing what can be done. However, it doesn't mean you're getting the undersides of everything and the backs of everything and and all the details everywhere around. So to get that is a ton of work and processing power and storage. But no, once you do, if that's what we're going, if that's where real estate photography is going, and you're going to go through, probably a robot will go through and scan the whole thing on wheels or something.
Yeah.
And then maybe it'll break out with some legs to go up the stairs. I don't know, but they're gonna solve this, right? And then you just send it in there for however long it takes, and maybe Matterport keeps building more and more, or iGuide or these Nerf guys or whatever, that it just builds the whole 3D space. Then you choose your shots later, right?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
right? Like you can.
So we'll be retired by then, but that's probably the future of
that probably is. Like I'm looking at this stuff thinking, wow, this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there is really advanced or really actually in the know of the Nerf, hit us up. We would love to have you on as a guest to the Photofocus podcast so that you can talk about Nerfs.
I'm going to write down, I got a couple ideas of who to ask. Hold on a second.
Right.
Nerfs.
So
that's
if
different
you're
than turfs, right?
Right. If you're a Nerf expert, then by all means, give us a call. We would give us a call. Do people call anymore? Give us an email and
real estate agents.
Right. And we will love to have you on our show, and you can promote whatever you promote, as that seems fair to me. And
so while we're sitting here, I'm getting notifications from Threads that somebody accepted my request, and I don't know who it is. So I'm already skeptical about, like, I didn't request any to follow anybody. So,
I get people all the time saying that they're local, they're really nearby, and for some reason they're always wearing bikinis and want to be friends.
Yeah, and they're always single. Yeah. And then somebody also, I'm now following somebody, it says, but I don't know why now. Anyway, so I'm always skeptical of these things, but like you, I always try to sign up, get my name, and so
get a handle on your handle.
Speaking of that, why don't we take this, since we're kind of on a free form show here today, Rob, is if anybody is using Vero, Vero, I signed up. That's a photo sharing app if you don't know about it. And when I signed on, I noticed a lot of people that I know in photography were on it, but I don't feel like it's popular. It's a weird thing. So if you're on it, check it out. Follow me. Maybe I'll start using it. I think I posted like one thing. But what other, while we're here, just coming off the top of my head, do you have another app to try out or recommend? Or,
you know what? I don't. I wish I did. I'm far, far behind on a lot of things. I've realized that I don't know a lot about a lot of things that I don't know about. And because of that, trying to learn more about things that I don't know about, it seems a little daunting these days.
We got to do this more often and bring in, like, the round table's fun because we bring in new voices and stuff. And I don't know. I try to stay out and let them talk more. I know I can't always pull it off, but that's always fun. And then that's one reason to keep doing these, as we keep up. But I was hoping that Minds, MINDS, I was hoping Minds would get popular. They have some new ways of doing things that I liked, and but it doesn't seem to be taking off.
No, eh?
What else do we got? Didn't we have?
Oh, you know what? Strangely enough, I just, speaking of social media, I got a question from one of my students saying, "Hey Rob, what do you think about all those people that say, hey, you should post this photo on this, DM me?" And
oh boy,
do you get those on Instagram?
I don't really, but I had a friend who got their Instagram stolen, like hacked or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was saying he's pretty sure it was, ultimately his fault. Like, he probably clicked on something he shouldn't have, even though he's aware, like, he's, he's modern and not dumb about that. But he got caught, and I knew it because I would get messages from him that didn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so I asked, he said, oh yeah, it's been happening all over. So, I don't get very many of them, but I know a lot of them are. And all it is don't click on anything you're not sure of, and just, you know, whatever you're trying to do, whether it's a great deal that you're missing out on, or what you mentioned, like the girl, there's a million pretend women out there, whatever they're enticing you with. If it's a crypto deal, that's definitely, you know, I'm into all that blockchain and crypto stuff. It's not a scam by itself, but there's tons of scammers out there, of course, right? So just don't. Don't.
No. So here's where I'm going with this. So the question was, specifically, this one website said, you DM me and we can cross post this onto this profile, which has 1 million some followers, right? So you DM them, and then they DM back saying, you know what, we can increase the number of followers you have by $60,000 or 60,000 people for, you know, $500.
So that could, sorry, maybe you got more.
Yes. So they asked, is it worth it? What does it do? Is it, you know, is it effective? Does it do anything? And so me being me, I thought, well, none of this can actually work. But let's try it as an experiment. Let's try it. And so one of these came up to me and said, oh, great picture, post it here. DM me. I DM'd them and I said, well, what are you going to do for me? And they said, well, we can get you 5,000 followers for $99 US. And I thought, you know what? Just for educational purposes, I want to try this out. I want to see what actually happens when you do that. And so they sent me a PayPal link. I sent them $100. And next thing you know, I have 5,000 followers. All of these followers are completely fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're people who follow 5,000. They follow 3,000 people, have 0 followers and 10 posts each. But they're all fake accounts. But what it does,
they're probably fake in the way that it's just one person signing up, making a whole bunch of accounts, making email addresses, making accounts, and they have real people doing it and everything, but it's not a real account that's going to mean anything.
Exactly.
So on one hand, if that's what you need, you want to be able to say, I have 5,000, 10,000, whatever followers. I mean, most people know that many followers are not real anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll give you another side of that after you finish your rundown.
Yes. So the next thing I know, I've got all these followers, which is all right. I've got hundreds of extra likes on hundreds of my posts. Now, the question becomes, what does that do? Does it actually help get my content seen on more accounts? Right? Like the algorithm is made so that people with higher number of followers will get viewed more.
Did you say this is Instagram? By the way,
this is Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
but they are always fighting that algorithmically, aren't they? Where they're trying to tell who has fake followers. That goes into the calculating of who gets shown where, doesn't it?
Yes, I think so. But who knows? We don't really know what the algorithm is doing. So do I actually get more views because of it? Do I actually get more followers because of it? Do I lose followers because of it? Do my followers get...
Do you get secretly docked and secretly shadow banned?
Right? And I don't know. But where I was going with this was on the same day that I did this, there's a really great Instagram account called Robert Freund, Freund Law. And Robert's...
Our friend.
Yeah. His Instagram is amazing. I like following it because it's very informational, infotainable. It's very easy to read, very easy to follow, and he's got some great ones. And it says, now he's just put it up there and saying the FTC has long maintained its position that buying and selling fake followers is illegal. Now they're codifying it as part of a new proposed rule. And it says, propose 465.8b prohibits anyone from procuring fake indicators of social influence to misrepresent their influence or importance for a commercial purpose.
That this is our friend,
Yes.
and
So,
he's what position again?
he is a lawyer out of, I'm not exactly sure where he is a lawyer out of.
But they're like lobbying for legislation. Is that what's going on?
No, I think it just says his Instagram says the FTC has long maintained its position that buying and selling fake followers is illegal. Now they're codifying it as part of a new proposed rule. And so
Okay,
that
so,
is going to be very interesting to see.
An unenforceable thing. Great. I mean, it's just not.
Right?
I mean, I'm not pro fake followers. I'm just thinking, yeah, great. We're gonna have a law that's gonna help. Hey, I wanted to, before we get off that, I wanted to mention something that is usually legit or could be legit. Is I've been reached out to at some point. It was an Instagram account called something along the line of Streets of San Francisco or something like that, like a San Francisco local thing. And they were straight up saying, we'll post, like they had looked at one of my photos and said, we'll post this for X amount of dollars. Mm-hmm. And then the idea would be that they did have a big following. Were they fake? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So that might've been, that could have been, my thought was, it's probably not a scam. It's probably a real Instagram account. And what is it? And who knows, maybe they are really just, that's some one person or some big or small group or company that does that. They spend all day on Instagram finding a photo they like, and they say, we'll post it and send us, I forgot. I think it was like $50 or something very reasonable.
Yeah.
So the only way that would be a scam is if all their followers were fake and that they didn't really have anything. So I didn't look into it. It wasn't something I followed up on, but that could be real, and it could be all legit, and it could be a combination. Like I was mentioning, maybe they have 5,000 legit followers, but they bought 10,000 more. I don't know, but those kinds of things might be real. And you know what? We'd love to hear anybody out there that's done that. If it worked, if they thought it was real, maybe you're running something like that. We could have that person on. Hey, you're running Chicago, this photo, that, Amsterdam lights, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that, I should also mention one reason that I thought it was probably legit was that they did have fantastic photos. I was proud that they asked me, frankly. That was one thing, but I'm sure they play on that. And then, I don't know for sure that all the photos they had permission for or anything. I don't know any of those things for sure, but it did seem like it was probably okay. I would love to hear if anybody's interacted with those kinds of accounts, channels.
Right. I'd like to hear more about that too. So if you do know,
it's like a round table episode, Rob.
I know, because let's face it, photography has gotten to the point where it is so much more than picking up a camera.
Yeah.
Right? Photography is all about it is almost like having to get your BCom, you got to get a business license or your master's in business to be able to be a successful photographer, and it's difficult, right?
Well, that's long been the disconnect is people want to be a photographer and want to make, or just an artist in general, but then someone is good at something doesn't mean they're good at business, and it's the rare one that's good at both. Mm-hmm. Like Rob Moroto, that is good, that actually has an eye and an ear and for both. And then this is stuff that I know on at least my participation in things like this, where we do like a, photography world kind of media or whatever, is it's constantly been talked about, right? Is how do I jump into this? How do I do this? Do I hire somebody? Do it myself? What do I, and who does sales? Bad at sales, but I'm good at photography, this kind of stuff. And it's one of those classic conversations. And my point of saying all that is that I feel like we're in a shifting moment where the technical parts are getting easier and easier because of those automated solutions and machine learning and stuff like this. Like I see products that are, there's one that was still under, coming out of beta or whatever, but it's kind of like what I was talking about, is they're trying to do an automated solution where you go through the property and the photos are like automatically created without your eye for composition and stuff. It does it all for you. So these things are all at some point gonna be good. We just don't know if it's going to be 1 year, 10 years, 100 years, So
right.
We are on this, and probably every generation says this, where it's all changing. I'm old enough to have had my first digital camera when I was in my 20s. So before that, I was using film. And so that was an enormous revolution. And then, of course, that little thing called the internet was a big revolution that you got, because if you were going to be a photographer before, what were your mediums? Books, and maybe you get them up at a cafe. You get a who's going to get a show at a real show at a museum with your art installation there.
Right.
So
you can sell pictures of hummingbirds at a craft sale
at the local fair, right in the summer. In fact, somebody I want to have on that I met at one of those a couple weeks ago, one of these local street fairs, where he was selling his wares on the booth style, and I want to have him on and get his experience with that. And so hopefully on one of the roundtables we'll do that. But
oh my God, you just reminded me of this one person that I would love to have on. Him and his brother, they work out of Maui, and they sell photos on the beach at the Sunday markets all the time. But here's the thing. They sell photos of whales and dolphins and humpbacks, and get this, their day job, they are photographers for the what is it? The oceanic something.
some institute,
Government
like from
institute.
Star Trek 4.
No. This is like U.S. marine biology, what a government funded thing.
Yeah.
So they have the government essentially sends them out to track and document and record these migrating whales. And so they're paid to be in the water to take photos of these whales all the time. And it just happens to be that if they take 100 images and the institute only says, well, we only need these 10, then all the other 80 of them they can have.
Wow.
And because they're in such close proximity to them, and they're allowed to get into that, I think there's like you're not allowed within 50 feet of an animal or something like that. But if you're stationary in the water taking pictures of them and they come swimming at you, you're not obligated to get out of their way, because you can't. They're too fast, right? So you can stay there, take pictures really up close. And so they've got these amazing photos.
Wow.
That essentially is the bits of film that hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
That they're repurposing and selling, not for just like $5 here, $10 here. I'm talking like $300 for a nice size print.
Wow.
And they're doing this on the weekend. So I've got to find this guy, because his work was incredible, but his business model was phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a round table. We'll get a couple people that sell actual prints, like the old days. Yeah. Right. Cool. Well, hey, before we get off here, I feel like we had one other question we were going to hit and it should be really quick anyway.
Okay.
Is Sydney. I don't know if that's from Sydney or named Sydney, but probably named Sydney, because talking about the supermoon, which probably didn't happen the same timing in the other hemisphere, but I have to ask Shaman about that. I heard that the supermoon, I heard about it too late and missed it. What's a good way to keep up with things like that? And it's pretty easy answer is either the Photographer's Ephemeris, it's an app.
Okay. Yeah.
Or Photo Pills is another app.
Yeah, we've been talking about photo pills for a while. We got.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned them second on purpose because we do. I like it. I've used both. I like them both. Photo Pills is. I feel like it's a little more modern or whatever, and it's they do cool stuff. They do interesting videos, YouTube, educational stuff, which they should to promote their product. And it's like a group of guys in Spain that started this thing, so I'm always kind of rooting for them. I have a affinity for Spain, so
yeah.
Yeah, those are both good apps. There are probably others that maybe some commenters can add, but those are the two. So that's why I thought it would be a quick answer because they're commonly used, and you can really plan your shots, both the timing and you can put yourself in a location. So if you want to get, say, the moon with the bridge in the foreground, for instance, you can look for locations that make that work at the right time. So you can do all these predictive things. It has a lot more than that too. I mean, I just use it for the hyperfocal distance calculator I use in my photography. Yeah. So you can just put in what lens you're using, what size sensor you have, and it's all that information. It'll tell you your hyperfocal settings. So you just know everything's in focus. So those are good apps. Okay. That's all we've got from the list. So yeah,
you know what? Okay, so Sydney, if you're, hope you're listening. So it says here that the full supermoons in 2023, July 2nd and 3rd, August 1st, August 1st, August 30th, 31st, and then September 28th and 29th. So we're looking at, beginning and end of August, and then the end of September. So
hey, Rob had a simpler answer. Google it.
That's exactly it. Or you can YouTube it too.
Do you do that? I know I do it. I go, there'll be some question and I'll feel like, oh, how could I should know that, or who should I ask? And tons of people are just a lot of things you can just Google. And then with the new AI style, like what's the one called? Bard. One of them has I'm not keeping up on the Chat GPT is one of them, but that doesn't have anything current past like 2021, I think. So one of the search engines is Bard. I can't remember which one is using it. It might be Microsoft. I can't remember which one is using it. But anyway, you can use AI to search. So you can say, I'm looking for the supermoon, and it'll give you some information. But it's conversational. So you can add info, say, okay, now I'm in this location, so where should I go? And you can have a conversation with it.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm even ahead of you on that at all. I'm not that far ahead, but if you've used ChatGPT, there are the current arms race is to build the conversational style of ChatGPT, meaning you can build on things that you say and it'll remember it during a conversation. The arms race is to build that into search and make it work well, and so that's happening.
I hope it. You know what? I really hope that happens, and I hope it happens fast, and I hope it gets implemented fast because I'm so tired of calling up my cell phone company and doing the. Would you like to talk to an operator? Yes, I'd like to talk to an operator. You can go to this website and search this. Or are you calling about home or business? Home. Business. All right, let's get.
I did one of those today, and I thought, what year am I in? I know. But of course, it was a government testing site, which you might know what I'm talking about. So of course, it's going to be like that. It's going to be, if for this department, press 1, for this department, press 2, and then they never name the department you want, so you're stuck there.
Yeah,
hitting 0.
Yeah.
Hey, what else we got? What's that?
To repeat, press 11.
Oh my God. And then listen to our choices because our menu has changed. Well, when did it change?
Yes.
Maybe it wasn't since I've been on, All right. So what do we need what are we going to do a wrap up here? Should we cue the music?
We can cue the music, but before we do, everybody, thank you again for sending in your questions. Send in more. Send in your audio questions. And if you have questions support us personally, you can reach me at Rob Moroto on Instagram, on Facebook, and at robmoroto.com on my website, and you can find my course there as well.
Yeah, and again, send your questions. Would love to have more audio questions. That's just for me. It just makes it more fun. We'll pretty sure use it. So send those to questions at photofocus.com. You can find me. I'm rpepper on Instagram. Apparently, I'm rpepper on Threads as well, as of tonight. And thanks again, Photomatics, for sponsoring hdrsoft.com. You can get the trial for free. So thanks to a little bit of sickness, we're not on our regular Thursday, but we'll be back on schedule 2 Thursdays from now with the roundtable with some interesting guests, the way it's looking, people have been thinking about and talking to. And if you have suggestions, we're open to them. So see you in a couple weeks. Send in your questions and have fun shooting. Adios.